There is no tougher immigration process in the world than getting to US. If you illegally work at any point of your process when you're out of status and you work, it's very hard to get you legal permanent residency afterwards because you violated all the rules.
What do you think the best country to have dual citizenship is for Americans?
My own case was impossible for 6 out of 6 attorneys, and I'm here. Anywhere in the world, it doesn't matter. There's always a way.
Why do you think everybody wants to come to America if everyone hates it so much? What I find to be interesting is you're ultimately mentoring and helping foreigners get their either citizenship or resident alien or cards or green cards here in the United States.
That's correct. That's very correct. What I created with the team is not just a company that is an immigration company, and I don't like us to be called immigration company. I appreciate us being called a wealth management team who uses the immigration strategy to create and build the wealth.
Wealth management. So tell me about that. You said earlier your story. Let's start with your story.
Absolutely. So me being an international attorney, never done immigration before. I was international transaction, international arbitration person coming through Europe, living in Istanbul, living in Hong Kong, ended up in Miami, which was supposed to be considered a 10-month short trip. I came just to do LLM, studies. Everybody's coming in and out, students, and the life happens. Obviously, I stayed to do my JD, the law school degree, and then I happened to have my baby. So, which seems to be a 10-month stay, was right now 10 years. Roughly 10 years. But after graduation, obviously the student visa expires and I had to figure out how to go on my path. And here comes the immigration nightmare. So I was a lawyer, but I had no idea about the immigration in any country in the world, especially not in the US. The only thing I knew that it's extremely complex, it's extremely difficult, and I have no idea what to do. So obviously I hired multiple attorneys and the case went wrong. It went wrong because obviously my relationship didn't work out. So I went through the family means to process my stay, the green card, the residency. And that didn't work out. So my case it dropped, and I asked for help. I asked for multiple attorneys to help me to figure out what to do, what is the next step. And I spent a lot of money. I spent a lot of time, effort, and the only answer was like, you're gonna pack up and go back home, which I'm not a give upper. Like I never gave up in my life. Probably it's in my astrological sign or something, or my stubbornness that has to do something with that. And I was like, no, there's always a way. And that's my logo till today through my clients, that there's always a way to find a solution. And that's what I sat down. I started to study immigration law for my own case, figure out like how that can be done. And I got myself approved. And that motivated me. That if I'm able to do it for myself, I was able to help multiple other people. And that's how I started to run a company. And that comes the second part of the story, that not just being an immigrant and knowing the law, you're really being an entrepreneur at this point, and being an entrepreneur in a foreign country that you have no idea how to raise funds, how to market, how to talk to clients, how to know the cultural aspect, how to know the language barrier. And despite the fact I spoke English since my kindergarten, it's always a language barrier. Like you always hit that barrier, that half of the people, they say, I don't understand. What do you mean you don't understand me? I speak English. So it was kind of funny things to overcome. And there were downfalls. I had to restructure company multiple times to hit the success.
So learning all this through your own path inspired you to like start showing other people?
Absolutely, yes. So I saw coming people into US and not just like approving them on their visa. They started a company and there was a downfall. They didn't know. They came back to me. They asked me, so how do I raise funds? How do I go to the bank? How do I open the bank account? How to get the EIN number? How to find a location? Which state is the best for me? And I did all this as a part of the, the friendship, kind of me sympathizing with them and guiding them through. There were the questions, okay, where do I place my kids to school? What is the best school? Like, where do I find a house? How to get a mortgage? Like, there are multiple questions that or people that born and raised here don't even think of could be a struggle for somebody coming in. Or getting social security number, how to do that. So I did my secondary job, not just being a immigration lawyer for somebody or advisory, but then my secondary job was just walking them through on the multiple stages and helping them out to figure this out. So I decided to create the mentorship to not just process the paperwork, which is it's a core, but then comes the real life, moving to US and hits realistically. So we created a mentorship program to guide them through how to navigate and be entrepreneur in the foreign country in the US.
Now, when you first came here, you found some American dude, I assume?
Yes.
And had a baby?
Yes. We were married, yes.
Oh, you got married?
Yes.
And isn't that a way in too?
It is the way in. Absolutely. You should marry American citizen. Obviously, be aware of so many scams right now. I wouldn't go that path just to find somebody to get married. But
when you say scams, what do you mean?
Oh, there are multiple scams. People just get married to U.S. citizens for money to get their case approved. So there is so many frauds. And in the Mr. President's Trump era, I wouldn't risk this at all.
Don't you go to jail, or what happens if you get caught?
You got deported.
How do they know if you marry for love or money?
We have to provide multiple evidence. I don't want to go into depth. It's very technical, but you have to provide so much evidence, and you're being called into the interviews to being asked questions about a relationship, about each other. Like they really go in depth. They search social media. They search anything and everything. Right now, people are so not smart about like getting fraudulent relationship and posting with other girls on social media, partying and everything that you can find out. So they really track that down.
What is the price tag for that?
For what? For fraudulent marriage?
Yeah. Not fraudulent. Just willing to marry a foreigner to let them in.
That's a fraudulent marriage.
Not necessarily.
Well, the marriage is fraudulent relationship or intention. So the price tag that I heard is $25,000 right now.
That's it?
That's it.
Dang, that ain't worth it. Especially if you're a dude.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're a female and you marry a foreign guy who's got a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
But
Trust me.
I would say it's
But you don't see those. Unfortunately, I haven't seen those. I would say probably that would be a good deal, but I haven't seen those. Usually what I've seen, it's the people that are not well off.
It's females.
Both. I've seen both. And you know what's really trending right now that I've seen? The gay and the lesbian marriages, because they're legal. So what girls are really preferring is to marry another girl because they feel in a safe space, not to marry just a random dude, Yeah. So those are really much trending right now.
So the only part I don't understand about that is, let's say, I run into a girl and she's cute. And yeah, I'll date her. And you know what? She's getting booted. So sure, I'll marry her. So I marry her. How is the government going to say that I did it for any other reason than I loved her?
If you're lucky enough and you actually know enough about her and there's nobody else on a social media, they want. Do you wanted to marry her? She got lucky. You were willing to do it. You were dating her. You helped her out technically. You're still in a relationship. You want to stay in a relationship afterwards. You're going to get approved. I mean, depending how good lawyer you're going to hire.
Yeah. And then you said your relationship didn't work out.
My relationship didn't work out. It was another story that it would be another podcast just to talk about the story between the foreigner and the marriage with the American that experienced those things that I experienced. So it was a famous story in Miami.
Oh, it was?
Yes.
So your daughter,
Yes.
she's American.
She's American.
'Cause she was born here.
Yes.
So is she a dual citizen?
She's a dual citizen, soon to be triple citizen, and having extra residency around the globe, because I do believe, and that's what I created for my own family, that having multiple citizenship and residency around the globe in the current geopolitical situation is the key for success. And it's not just the key success for like keeping safe and the globalization and the free mobility, which I feel is getting more valuable in the future, because we were used to move freely around the globe. And I feel it's starting to be really restricted. Just see people entering on tourist visa and being restricted entry to United States these days with the valid visa, just because they can be restricted because there is additional power. So having a free mobility, I think it's becoming more and more valuable in the world of globalization. And that's what we think is creating the wealth coming from.
Yeah, well, being able to move freely is key for sure. But why do you think everybody wants to come to America so much if everyone hates it so much?
It's a dual feeling. We hate it, but there is no such a country when you can generate wealth than America. And
Well,
that's true.
Then why do you hate it?
It's culturally difficult. Me being here 10 years, I'm still adjusting, and I'm being very honest. It's very culturally difficult to face very many pitfalls that you go on your path. You have to fight triple hard than American to get through the things, to build your credit score. A little thing, like I didn't know without the credit score, you're not a human being in this country. Literally, that's my personal feeling. The credit score was key for what? Funding, for banking system, for getting mortgage, and you don't pay attention to that. Like I could have a credit built up first 5 years easily, but I even didn't know it's so important in my life. And then,
well, dude, that's Americans too. Like they don't teach us that.
And that's crazy.
That is crazy.
That is crazy, because if this is a key, I mean, why everything I'd done, and it's crazy, I had to build up from my cash. So I earn money and I put it back. Now, how slow process is that when you have to use your own money and you don't use others' money to build your wealth, right? And we all know that. I was never an entrepreneur. I was coming from a family that, we were well off. I was the little spoiled kid that, I appreciate the parents that are coming off the wealth, teaching the kids from scratch and showing them the key path and the mindset of being an entrepreneur. I was everything. I had everything arranged, so I didn't have to try hard. And coming here, being on my own, starting to prove, and that came when my daughter was born. It was kind of kicked to my butt, like, hey, wake up. Now it's on your own, and you have a child, you have a dependent, and you have to start to take care of somebody.
Well, if you're the mother of a citizen, doesn't that matter?
No. The citizen has to turn 21 years of age to petition for you. And that could take another 10 years until your visa get granted.
So if you got booted, would she have to go with you?
No, because they're claiming she has a citizen father. So technically, if they take away child from me, they're still the second parent taking care. So she would still have granted access to US. But yes, technically, if I was booted out, in my mindset, I was restricted my child to come to the country because of my restriction, which was very unfair in my mindset. So that kind of kicked me to move towards fighting for the case. And it wasn't really my wish to be American or stay in US. It was rather for her, the initial thought. Now, yes, probably running the business the way I do is mainly being able to have in this environment, in this mindset, in economical setup that we are having here. Probably it wouldn't be able to run and done anywhere else in the world.
Now, do you think it's better or worse now that Trump's president again?
Immigration, I kind of appreciate what he's doing. I think it was getting the immigration and the illegal immigration and the out of status people were getting out of hand. But I do think it's a little bit too much. I think if he balanced it out, how he's doing it would be more beneficial. The way that the affluent students, because of the free speech and their opinions, are being revoked and, kicked out of the country. I heard so many legal permanent residents being held on the borders for 6 hours, questioned what they're doing in the United States. And when they're saying, I live here, and they do not have a physical appearance. I'm talking about a young girl, beautiful blonde girl that barely spoke English. She was Italian. She has a green card. She was detained questioned for 6 hours on the secondary checkup to ask, like, okay, so how did you come? Why do you have a green card? What are you doing here? Why you travel so much? You're not supposed to travel, which are legally inaccurate.
Well, I don't think anyone at the border should stop any beautiful women from coming in.
Right.
I think that should be a rule.
Right.
If you're beautiful, if you're beautiful and you're foreign and you want to come here, you're welcome.
You're welcome. More than open, right?
And you can stay as long as you like.
And blonde. Put it on the top.
You don't have to be blonde. You just have to be beautiful.
Good.
I saw a bumper sticker once that said, "Welcome to Las Vegas. Now leave your daughter and go home."
Yes, exactly.
So it's kind of like that. But in all reality, I am obviously American, born and raised, but and I like America. Like, dude, I've traveled, and when I get back, I'm always thankful that I'm back. Just the feeling. I don't know what it is, just the feeling of being back. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Europe. I love Italy. I love all the cool spots. But for some reason, whenever you land back in America, you're like, no,
relief.
I didn't know if that's because I was born here or it's because I love it so much. Now, if I was born somewhere else and raised somewhere else, maybe I would feel weird here and happy when I got home.
I think that's it. Like, where you were born and raised. So it's weird though, because I was born and raised in Slovakia. Like, my whole generation back are Slovakian. We have no blood mixture there. But since I was like, I love traveling. Like, literally, I was crying every single time from every vacation returning back to Europe. I hate cold. I hate snow. I was so much suffering with that one. Probably that's why I'm living in Miami right now. But now, every time the kid is off to school and we're able to go to Europe for 3 months, I'm so grateful. Like, that's for me, like, that relief, that I have a break. I have a mental break. For me, US is a constant mental focus and hustle. That's for me as an entrepreneur. Like, it's a constant focus, work. An achiever of something. So I have targets, I have goals, and I want to achieve them. I go to Europe, I feel like, okay, I can deflate. So I feel it's something like I relate what you feel here.
So if there's people listening right now that are not citizens, but they're here, they've got their green card, or they're able to work visa, things of that nature. Right now, I think it's a little bit unstable, meaning, like, I was up talking to my buddy who had a dude working for him, and he was a Mexican dude, and he was supposed to go down to the immigration office to see if he had to leave or not. And like, this guy's been here. He's got a business here. He's got kids here. Like, in some cases, I think, well, dude, you shouldn't kick him out. Like, dude, the only people that I think should be kicked out once they drew the line is criminals. Mm-hmm. Like, if you have a criminal offense or you're just a criminal, okay, you got to go. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're here already, well, then you lucked out. But I also agree that there should be rules to get in. The problem with that is the rules are bureaucratic and stupid. Like, there's not intelligent rules put in place. There's stupid rules. And it takes someone 9 years to get an approval, which, again, like, it shouldn't be that way. You want to come to America? I do agree. Get in line, fill out whatever form, come in like you're supposed to. You come in illegally, I don't agree. Why? Because it's illegal. Like, as soon as the word illegal comes into it, you can't be here. Sure. And then everybody wants to hate on Americans because of it. And in reality, Mexico has the same damn rules. Mm-hmm. Europe has the same damn rules. If I'm American, I can't just go to some countries.
But
But
isn't
no
it
one
like,
bitches at them about it. Why?
yes.
Why not? Why do Americans get held to the we're the unfair ones?
Isn't it I got an experience, or I got a thought that it's the toughest immigration in the world. And I have to tell you, it is the toughest immigration in the world.
America?
There is no tougher immigration process in the world than getting to US. They limited right now the merit of the case. So technically you have 3-4 merit of the case, and one of those marriage and others are employment, like the extraordinary ability and the investment. So technically you have 4 routes altogether to get a green card. But isn't it that the forbidden fruit tastes the best? Sometimes I feel it like some guys really just want to get here because everybody was fantasizing about the US and the opportunities and the dream country and, American dream, and everybody's getting rich here. But true is, when you really get here, you do get rich, you do get your dream, but it's not because you got to US, it's because you work. I mean, not work manually, but you work, you put in the work, the hope, the timeless hours of sleepless hours, and you pursue your dream, but it doesn't come for free.
That's right.
And that's what people mistake it. Like, okay, I just entered the country, like, here I am. Like, come on.
Yeah,
money
give it all
fall
to
on
me. So are other countries, because again, most Americans, including me, we're not that bright when it comes to like culture and multicultural areas. We're not very good at biography.
That's why you're here to educate you.
Yeah, well, again, like if someone says, hey, where's Slovakia? Dude, I couldn't tell you where Slovakia was. I don't know where.
You should have.
I don't even know where Ukraine is.
Beautiful women.
Well, there's beautiful women everywhere.
Yes.
In America, in Italy, in Germany, in Norway. Norway. But we're just not that bright when it comes to geography. We don't know where shit is or what things are like, because I think we're just born and raised here. This is all we know. So what is other countries' problem? Like, why does everyone want to come here? Why is it so free here and easy here, but it's not anywhere else? Because there's rich people everywhere.
There is. Oh my God.
So why can't you go to Slovakia and be rich?
It has to do with the economy. So when the ability of spending of general people is limited, there's no way you're able to sell high ticket price either service or product to the people that don't have a spending ability. Make sense?
So there's no money.
Exactly. So in a nice way, if the economy is not booming, there's no way how you sell your service for a certain amount of price if there is no buyer for it. And why people from Latin America want to come here? It's a political situation. It's a persecution. It's a how people got poor there, and people got sick. So you cannot really convince European that much to immigrate to Europe. It's rather happy countries over there, stability, stable political situation, good economical situation, nice income, average income, not that high as in the US, but it's a nice place to be. Now, why India wants to immigrate? Like, have you never been to India?
I've never been to India.
We just opened the office in India right now. I opened an office in Delhi.
I watched Slumdog Millionaire though.
There you go. It's something like that. It's really something like that.
It's just overcrowded.
It's overcrowded. It's either super poor or super rich. There's not many in between. And even people that are super rich, they got limitation. And what I told you, the freedom of the mobility and the globalization, people do see and they want to go. They are extremely smart. They're very wealthy, a lot of money in India, for example. But they don't have a way how to get out. They do. They can go to Dubai freely. That's a way, but that's not getting the replacement of the Indian passport that has a visa restriction to so many countries in the world. So when they got an opportunity to grow, when they got an opportunity to work somewhere in the world, they cannot, because the process of getting visa and work permit and everything is super difficult. So
why Indians?
Smart, extremely capable. Very skilled. We even cannot imagine how smart and skilled those people are running the multi-billion business in the world on a top level. When clients of mine describe me what they do, sometimes like, okay, I'm not smart enough to understand this. And I'm happy to acknowledge that I don't know everything. And mainly I don't know the tech stuff that they are doing, but they're extremely talented. And I know they're a truly blessing for US economy. And those talented people are those that we are helping to get them to US.
Well, I thought we had the talent pool, meaning if you're extremely talented at something, we'll give you a visa.
It needs to be processed. It needs to be approved. And that process is not easy. So that's what we're using for those talented people to get them. So that process is 1/10 of the investment visa right now, the $1 million, $1.1 million.
So if somebody's listening to this in India,
yes,
which I do get downloads,
or here in US, and
or in the
having
United
an Indian
States.
passport.
Yeah. So if you are an Indian with an Indian passport, then this is the episode you want to listen to, because you
Absolutely
have found the way to get them here.
We created the way and a path that is approved, and we are able to 100% get them residency, so they don't have to be stuck with this, lottery that they've been all doing and be tied to the sponsorship of the company that they're working for another 10, 15, 20 years and become a resident/US citizen in as short as 2.5 years.
So there's people here that feel like they're stuck at wherever they came. In other words, they came with a job, so they have to stay at that job. They're not allowed to build a business, do part-time shit. Is that true?
That's true. They're not allowed to do part-time.
Who stops them? The government?
There are limitations. So when they got a work permit, it's tied to the company. They can change job, employers, obviously, but still they're going to be tied to the company. They cannot run their own business because it's a competition against the company. For example, Apple restricts it completely. Like, you would be fired at that point and you would lose the status and be deported back to, or required leave to a country back to India. So yes, if you are tied to the company, you have to work solely for the company. You can change the employer, but the new employer has to sponsor you again, and that is such a time cost process.
Yeah, I hired someone once from the Ukraine, and we filled out whatever and brought them over.
Because you give the sponsorship.
And I'll bet you they're extremely thankful, because this was before the whole Ukraine bullshit.
Oh, yes.
Can you imagine getting out right before that shit started?
I see so many, like the Ukrainian peril that they brought them, the protection, but when the war is over, again, they're falling out of the status because there's no more, harm or
danger.
There's no more danger to them, so they are able to return back.
But you're focused and passionate about the Indian population for some reason.
I'm focused on entrepreneurs. Like, that's my main core. And because I feel for them, I'm one of them. I'm the immigrant entrepreneur who's been on that path. So I'm walking in their shoes. So I know what needs to be done for them to succeed. So that's my core business and core focus.
And just in case you guys are listening, you guys hit her up in the DMs at Olinecka, Olinecka.
I'm sorry.
It's A, yeah?
You got it good.
Olinecka. I thought I wrote it down right. Or at Citizen Concierge. Get a hold of her and figure out what you need to do to get your ass here legally and without restriction. When I was talking to you earlier, I was kind of thinking in my mind, you might get a lot of Americans wanting passports elsewhere, like me. Like, I almost got a Mexican passport to get a citizenship in Mexico. Why? Well, because number one, I think it's cool having multiple passports. Number two, because again, like you're saying, it's smart in this geopolitical environment we're in. You never know when, like, what if America crashed? Well, you got multiple passports. You can just bug off to another state or another country. And not only that, like right now, go to Mexico as an American, and there's 6-hour lines because of the tariffs and the back and forth we're going through. So they're like, almost want to say, messing with Americans to make it just a real pain in the ass to get in there.
Yes.
Which I don't understand, because people got to realize it's not the citizens that's the government. Like, most of the citizens don't even like the government.
But they do the same to Mexicans on the borders here. Like, so they're held in a back office for 6-7 hours being questioned.
Yeah, but I know people from Mexico, Mexican citizens, they come up here all the time, go to fights, they do all kinds of things. They don't have any problem. Is it because they got money?
Cars, right?
I don't know, but they're well to do. They're not broke. So I don't know. Again, I mean, like, you know, if you're running through the fence, you know, I don't agree with that. And again, I understand people want to have a chance in life, and I'm as fair as people get, but you got to go over to the gate, my friend. You go in the gate and come on in. And again, I mean, like, everybody should be welcome in as long as they fill out the forms they need to fill out and they come in. But again, I'm not in the government. I don't know what the problems
but that's
are.
a point. That's a point. It's not the filling out the form. It's the process that is extremely difficult. Like,
well, that's the bureaucracy though. We face the same shit. Like, dude, go get a business license as an American. It's still a pain in the ass. Go get your property zoned differently.
It is.
You got to go jump through all these hoops, even Americans.
It is. And I've been through the process. That's what I'm telling you. It's horrible. And knowing all that is just like, people don't tell you that what it takes to be an immigrant and whatever, living your life and trying to make most out of it, not just like, you know, being employed somewhere and getting the salary that everybody talks about. Like, it's the drug just, you know, to make you believe that you cannot grow. But the minute you really want to grow and do something, like, it's a bureaucracy. It's either you come off the money and you have your own savings and money that you're able to invest and you don't care about the government and all the shit going on around here, or you really want to get advantage of being a lawful permanent resident or U.S. citizen, but still immigrant U.S. citizen, because getting a passport doesn't make you really U.S. person. Like, that you have to understand. Legally, yes, it does. Mentally, it doesn't. You still have to understand how to afloat in the waters in the US. And that's the toughest part of it. Like, I'm still figuring it out. I'm still learning. I'm still not understanding. My mom, when I tell her like anything about a credit repair, for example, that I help with my clients, and she's like, what is that? Like, I don't get it. I was like, Mom, that's fine. You don't have to.
They don't have credit everywhere?
No, we don't run off the credit system in Europe.
You don't have to have good credit in Europe?
No, we don't have credits in Europe.
So how do you get loans?
Based on your salary, based on your income, tax returns, but no credit.
So if you make a bunch of money, you'll get loans. If you don't make a bunch of money, you won't get loans.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
It is.
Why don't they implement some sort of credit system?
Don't ask me. I'm not the government. I have no idea. But even understanding it here, figuring out, it was just nuts. It's like, I still cannot explain it. I sometimes like, you know what? Don't try to understand. Just go with the system. Sometimes it's better than to try to understand and fight it. Why it's not different. And that's what I also keep saying to my parents. They ask me, so why is it not this way? I was like, that's too much work to understand. Like, don't try to understand. Try to understand how it works. Know why. Because that's kind of philosophical questions that just you waste the time, right? It's not about like why. It just do it.
So citizenconcierge.org.
Yes.
If I go there, is it a wealth management company?
We do advise wealthy people to think beyond the borders of the wealth they generated, either in Singapore, either in India, either in Dubai, either in the US, anywhere in the world. That, okay, now you generated wealth through your business, through your knowledge, through your background. What you gonna do with it? Like, what you gonna give to your children in the future? Is it the cash? Is it the trust accounts? Is it the properties? What is it you're gonna give to your kids? For me, it's a freedom. For me, it's a freedom of the movement. Obviously, having all the money and backup, yes. But give them options to be able to move around and decide what they do in their life without doing that hustle that I've been through, or the immigrants that are coming here are being through. And what if your child won't have a profile, like such a tech profile or extraordinary talent profile? So why not the parent is using whatever they generated, learned all those 40, 50 years in the career and get them passport just because they were smart and good in something. And then the kid can decide what they want to do. So I have multiple applicants that you tell me like, listen, I'm happy in Singapore. I'm the top national, international CEO. I'm making ton of million in my life. I don't need to move from Singapore. I don't care about the US technically. I don't have to go there. And I'm saying that's perfectly fine. You don't have to. Think it of that you are the core applicant and you're using your background, your profile for gifting your child something. And then the child can decide, okay, I'm taking it or I'm leaving it. And it's a fraction of the price for whatever they are making, to be honest.
What do the golden visas, what's the rumor on those in the world?
They're coming in. So they are shutting down the EB5 soon. EB5 program was the direct investment or the regional centers program. There was 2 ways. Either of them, you kind of seen the return on your investment, kind of. When it's a direct investment, that was pretty cool program because you invested into your company that you were running and generating revenue. That was awesome. The regional centers is kind of, you put money into the, development, and in 5 years you see maybe some return. But the golden visa is just a non-refundable 5 million investment into US government, like gifting money to
so you're
US.
just buying your visa.
Just buying your visa.
And I bet you those come through real quick.
Not necessarily.
Those are tough too?
I mean, you have to go through the process, but they're going to be, if it's going to be as the EB5, the process takes up to 2 years. It's not like a couple of months.
What do you think it takes so long? There's so many? Or
There's so many. So U.S.
why don't
government
we get all
wants
these
to,
citizens or all these government employees that are caught not working? Because
No,
Doge is finding all kinds of people. They're finding buildings that are supposed to have 2,000 employees. There's nobody there.
Yes, I know. So the U.S. government loves to control and wants to control immigration. So they don't really open the borders. So each year they issue certain amount of visa available. So there are quotas, right? And there are 100 times more applicants than the quotas for United States. So actually, that's why you have to wait for a visa to be open for you so you're able to apply. Chinese, Indian, Filipinos are shut down. So technically, they put more regulation on those nations than on anybody else. And it's nationality based. What is also funny for Indian passport holders, it doesn't matter they have a different citizenship in the world. For example, there are multiple Indians who have a Canadian passports and Canadian citizenship. The US government says if your birth certificate comes from India, you are Indian forever. Isn't it funny? That's crazy.
Well, that's probably trying to stop a loophole that they were doing.
Yes.
That way we don't have to play games. Yeah. My question is why are we so worried about Indians coming here?
Because there's so many of them. They're extremely smart, extremely tech people. And I think
extremely what people?
Smart and
Oh,
tech.
tech. Yeah. Well, why wouldn't we want them? We want the smartest people here.
We do. But then if we do not regulate the flooding of the smarties, and that's the extraordinary ability is the most current and the fastest processing visa. So technically, even the talent people, they are not restricted 12 years or 15 years, but only 2.5 years wait time, which is the fastest processing visa for them right now. But imagine if million and million, because there's so many, and there are many people that I've seen with the genius backgrounds. I think there's a fear of stealing U.S. citizen jobs and placement, so I think they try to protect U.S. citizens for having a still good positions. But I still think that Trump's administration, they're still opening the gates for talented entrepreneurs, business people who they want them here. They want them to generate the economy. They want them to generate, taxes and everything that they're paying here. So that's still open gates for those.
So in a nutshell, if I was to say, here's what Olga can help people with, especially if they're Indian, how to get the resident green card and be able to work here. And then that will lead to citizenship.
Yes.
And you're about to be a citizen?
Yes.
And how long has it taken you?
It took me, so I'm here for 10 years. My process took 5 years and I took another 2.5 years for citizenship. So next year I'm about to finally finalize my path.
And then you're a citizen.
And then I'm a citizen.
are you able to then all of a sudden just have the rights that everyone else has here?
You have a right with the legal permanent residency too. It's like equal.
So what does it matter to be a citizen?
The citizenship cannot be revoked. The permanent residency can.
Now, if you were...
Unless you're a criminal or something. I'm sorry. The citizenship, unless you're a criminal.
If you're a criminal, they can deport you.
They could.
So my whole question to people is, why do you want to come here so bad? And then when you get here, you do nothing but talk shit about it. Like I always think, you hear the rednecks say it more than anybody, but like, you don't like it here, get the hell out. But everybody wants to come here. And that's my only question. And I always say it, without ill intent. I'm just honestly wondering if y'all hate it so much, why is everybody wanting to come here? And then when they get here, they want to talk shit. Like, why wouldn't you be, yes, thank you, I'm finally here?
There are multiple people who are like, yes, thank you, I'm finally here. There are multiple people that I experience that are like, I'm so proud, I'm so thankful, I'm so amazed holding the US passport, and they cherish it. I experienced that one a lot. The US is a country of opportunities more than anywhere else in the world. And I lived personally, like long time in Istanbul. I lived personally quite a bit in Hong Kong. I'm European. I studied multiple countries, different colleges. It is a country of opportunities. You don't get such a career, educational, work, business opportunities as you receive in US.
I wonder why that is.
The consumers in US are set in a different level. The consumers do understand the real world of the product service consumption in US. First. Second, in my field, what I can talk about, it's one of the world's toughest immigration in the world. How do you sell the most and the best product? Where is the toughest one, right? Where nobody else can do something and you become really good at it and you find the path where everybody else is going to say no. I can name 90% of the U.S. attorneys who are going to tell to U.S. Indian passport holders that the EB-1, the extraordinary ability visa, is not suitable for many of the applicants. And I'm so proud proving them wrong. There are law firms, huge ones that I don't want to name, that was telling to my applicants that his profile is not eligible to get a residency in the United States or being approved certain type of visa. We got approval. So I became passionate in proving other people wrong. I think it's my new hobby in this field. I love to show that impossible is possible. I love to show that my own case was impossible for 6 out of 6 attorneys, and I'm here and I'm getting the passport next year. I love to show that everybody who is being told that there's no way for him, that he's not eligible, and there's no path for them anywhere in the world. Let's talk about US, let's talk about Europe, or let's talk about the residency in Dubai. It doesn't matter. There's always a way. And that's what I think I'm the most passionate about, to proving others wrong. And I love those cases. I mean, like, I love to show those cases to the public that there is a way. So, and then when they come, obviously, that's the second way, they don't know what they're coming into.
Yeah, that's where your mentorship comes in.
Exactly. They don't know what they're coming into. And I totally understand. I was one of those, I'm sorry, shitting multiple times. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's tough. When you grow and fall multiple times when you're doing the business, because you have multiple falls. It's not a straight path up. Nobody succeeds right away. Like, nobody. Maybe somebody does, but I haven't seen those people. So you learn on your own mistakes. I haven't learned from others. That was my fault. I never had a mentor. I never had anybody guiding me through. I had to figure out all those mistakes, and I learned from those mistakes, and I made sure I do not repeat them again. Well, it took 10 years. It's a big chunk of your life, 10 years. So why not find somebody who been through all that and tell you, like, okay, I'm going to teach you everything in 6 months. And you're going to save all those 10 years and all those costs and money that you spent because you made mistakes.
Yeah. So that's what you're passionate about. You want to help foreigners. Is that what they're called? Foreigners or immigrants? You want to help foreigners thrive here.
Absolutely.
get legally put here, and then build massive success through entrepreneurship and wealth planning.
Yeah, the step number 1, proving everybody else wrong that they are not eligible. Approve them. Step number 2, to try them. Step number 3, showcase them and prove everybody else wrong. I love even my clients going back to the previous law firms, showing them approval notice. That's my best part. Sometimes I ask them, like, please, have like a little spy camera when you go, and showing them and sending those emails. Like, that's what I'm having a kickoff.
Well, that's awesome. So let's talk about the opposite now, because I'll bet you there's a lot of Americans that want dual citizenship in other countries. What do you think the best country to have a dual citizenship is for Americans?
I think
like I want multiple passports.
Right.
Just because I think it's cool. But there's got to be a downside. Like, do I lose a right as an American if I have, like, let's say, an Italian passport?
No, you don't. You can be a dual citizen and still you have all the rights. You keep the U.S. citizenship as it is.
And they can't screw with me at all because I have another passport?
No.
Because I was reading something the other day where they were proposing anybody that has more than one passport, there was going to be an issue with them. Because I was going to get a Mexican passport. I want to buy beachfront property down there.
Yeah.
You can't unless you're a Mexican citizen. So I'm like, well, I'll become a Mexican citizen then. I know somebody that knows somebody, and I'm going to go do that. But I read something that said anybody holding 2 passports will have some sort of issue.
Not right now. Not right now. I mean, they were trying to do it in Europe and they dropped it too. For example, Slovakia was selling, like, if you have a second citizenship, that they're going to revoke your Slovakian. It's not valid in US right now. And I don't know if they ever going to pass this bill, but it's not valid right now. And
what if they do?
I don't think so. They will.
Because I'm like, dude, I don't want to go get a passport.
The Americans build on immigrants. They will never do that.
Yeah, but I don't want to go get a passport in Mexico or Italy or someplace cool just so I can say I have it. And then all of a sudden it screws me someday. Because when it boils down to it, I'm always going to remain an American.
Of course. And I'm same, because me taking 10 years to get that American passport, I would never give it up. Not because I value it so much, but because I value it so much because of the story that has it behind that. So I'm on the board, but of course I would never give up my European passport, because I told you there's a Schengen passport. Like, we have a free mobility within the Schengen region in the European Union. So I cannot imagine me being European getting like visa or registration just to enter the Europe. So
what if they said you got to pick now?
I would never pick. I would always find a way. What did I say? There's always a way. There's always a way.
Well, it helps if you're an attorney, because you can dig in and, look and file your own paperwork. But if you're not an attorney, man, you got to hire one. And sometimes you don't have the money.
Well, that's the issue. You have to have a money for immigration. I've been saying this. There are so many applicants that are willing to come and they're saying, like, I have $5,000 saved in my pocket. Well, you won't survive for $5,000 even in 1 month in the US, to be honest. Right? Even like without immigration.
You could, but it'd be difficult.
It will be difficult. So
anything's possible.
Yeah, anything is possible. You can come and build, but you cannot expect to do your immigration for $5,000. That's rough, especially with entrepreneurs.
I talked to a guy the other day. His name's Frank Stronach, and he's the founder. He's a public company now, but he's the founder of Magna International. He has factories in like 42 countries. Mm. He's worth billions of dollars. And he chose Canada because they accepted him first. Yeah. But he went to Canada from Austria to Canada.
He's Austrian. He's my neighbor.
He's Austrian. and he landed in Canada with $200 in his pocket. And now he's a billionaire.
Well,
so Canada is a, opportunity country too, apparently.
Well, I was almost on the streets when I was doing my immigration process because the COVID hit. I didn't have a status at that point because I had to withdraw my case. I couldn't work. I didn't have a work permit. I didn't have a travel permit, and I have a newborn child. So,
well, you couldn't work legally because there's all kinds of people that aren't supposed to be working that are working.
Well, I wouldn't risk that because if that one comes out, I would never have a status later on. If you illegally work at any point of your process when you're out of status and you work, and there is any track, like you file taxes or you do anything, it's very hard to get you a legal permanent residency afterwards because you violated all the rules.
Yeah.
Well, I did made money. Like I went all into the online, cryptosphere and stuff like that. And I was educating myself. That's how I made some money. Well, I couldn't do anything. But yes, I feel that I was almost on the streets with a newborn at some period of the time. So I know how that feels.
Where'd the hubby go?
We should find them and ask him.
He wasn't required to help at all?
Not at all. I never had the child support. Never had the child support.
Were you allowed to get it because you weren't a citizen?
I should be allowed because it's for a child, not for me. And the child was a U.S. citizen.
No, I mean, you should be allowed, but were you allowed?
Yeah, my child was allowed.
Well, why didn't you get it?
Because he was gone. First of all, many people asked me why I didn't go to the court. It would cost me multiple funds just to create a case and go after him. So I didn't have the money to actually solve the things. I was begging at the beginning to be him a father. At this stage, I'm so happy and grateful he is not, because it would be even worse. But I didn't have any financial support myself or my child at that time.
Was he rich?
He pretended to be, yes.
So he took you.
He pretended to be. No, not just me. It was the whole city.
Yeah,
actually.
but if he was nice and honest and cared for you and was responsible, now he'd be successful like you.
Honestly, you know what I was thinking? Like if he would be because he scammed multiple people in Miami. So he's well known for that. If he would be a little bit smarter, and I would admire this, like if you scam somebody, if you flip the money, turn it around, and when you piss off people, you return them money and you just use somebody money and you actually made yourself rich because of that. I would kind of respect that. You know what I mean? Like kind of I would like understand like what was happening. But scamming people, using it for very stupid things, it's just, I don't get that. I was not really probably aware back then what was happening, but me recalling back what was happening and seeing everything that I learned in those 10 years, I was like, damn, if I'm in his shoes, I'd probably be millionaire by now, just by doing it.
What was he doing?
What was he doing officially? He was dealing in a dealership with the exhaust and rims, the car rims and exhaust on exotic cars. Officially.
So he was officially selling rims and exhaust systems. Was it his or he worked there?
He claimed he has a partner, which that wasn't really a thing. So there were multiple claims. And
that's what he was officially supposedly doing. What was he doing?
God knows.
Well, see again.
God knows.
Maybe it was a blessing.
Maybe.
So he's out of the picture forever.
Yes.
See, I think you use that as like a chip on your shoulder to also fuel you.
It did. First of all, like it was a process of the resilience. So, you go through all the stages. You feel sorry for yourself. You feel angry. You learn that nothing of that is really helping you. You can feel sorry for yourself. You can feel angry. You can blame others. You can blame whole US system, America. You can blame everybody in the city. You can go ask for help and nobody's really helping you. So that mentally put me through things, understanding like, okay, it's you on your own in your situation somewhere dealing with something. And then what you're going to do about that? You can write down, you can pack up and leave and depend on your family back in the country, or you can step up and do whatever you can do to actually get through the issues. And now
you can call Olga.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful. Like right now, wherever he is, I'm grateful. I'm really grateful that this happened and it shaped me and I became who I am. And I have an amazing, beautiful daughter that is whole mine. And I'm grateful that I became who I am. So I'm very thankful this happened at the end, and learning to process your own thought and getting the emotions under control and walking through the path. And that might happen. It doesn't matter if it's a relationship or if it's a business partnership. Things do happen in the life. There are up and downs and there are shit shows happening. But then it's your choice what you're going to do.
That's right. See? That's exactly right. I'm proud of you, Olga. You've learned.
Yes.
So last question. How do we as Americans get outside passports How hard is that? And which country are the best ones to get? Like if I wanted to hire your firm to get me a passport, which one would you recommend I get just for mobility purposes?
I think you should have one European passport. I think you should have a Dubai residency. And I would definitely throw you into Australian residency too, / passport later on.
Now, what if you never go there? Don't you have to go there?
You should have some visits, but Australia is nice to visit here and there. Like it's worth. If you tell me you never go there, that's fine. We can drop on that one. But on European, there are the Malta and the Portugal, the most kind of preferred programs right now to get to the Schengen passport. It's based on the investment. It's not as expensive as a US investment. But in Malta, you can invest in real property. So you can get a real property, you can have an investment property rented out and generate money on that one, have a residency there, and then leading to the passport. Similar, Portugal doesn't have a real estate anymore. They dropped that one. And then Dubai residency. Dubai residency for tax purposes and the optimization is definitely still a path to go to.
What are the tax purposes?
Well, if you run the business out of the Dubai, to the certain amount, there's a zero tax on the income. There's no
not if you have a U.S. passport.
So
U.S. is getting their money. They don't give a shit where you say you're from.
True, but even if you have business, so create the Dubai Corporation, for example, and the Dubai Corporation is making revenue, right? And then you're going to put it under the trust. That's not your U.S. money as a person, independent person. So you are not filing taxes on that one.
So you can help people navigate all that as well?
Yes, we do.
That's how you get wealthy.
That's how you get wealthy.
Interesting. So Malta, where's that?
Malta is a European island country, independent country in the European, what is the Mediterranean Sea?
Is it like blue waters and all that?
It is blue waters and all that. It's beautiful.
So who wouldn't want to go to Malta?
Even if you don't want to go to Malta, you get a Schengen passport. You don't have to go to Malta, but you were holding the European passport that's going to give you a free mobility in Europe.
All over Europe?
All over Schengen countries, not all European countries.
What are Schengen countries?
So Schengen countries are multiple countries. There are 20, right now, 8, 9 countries that are a member of the Schengen. Schengen means the free mobility between the European countries. So actually we created the outside barrier, and inside of that one you are traveling without a passport control, without being stopped. It's something like in US between the states here. So you can travel without the passport control, anything. So once you have a Schengen passport, Malta is a part of the Schengen Treaty, then you're able to enter the Europe and travel within the Europe without the passport control.
So would that include Spain?
Spain, Portugal, France, Germany, Norway, Sweden, Italy,
Sweden, all the good ones.
All the good ones. The UK exited. It's cold there and raining.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to stay there anyway. I would just visit.
Yeah.
But I would always want that passport just in case.
Exactly.
Number one. Number two, as I probably approach another 10 years in business and I start to consider liquidating and just enjoying the rest of my life, however long that might be, I would not be opposed to living somewhere else. Like Italy, I love Italy. I could see myself going to Italy and literally parking it for 3 years.
And you can do it with any Schengen passport, with the other European passport to do so.
But I thought we could just stay there indefinitely. Is that not true?
No, you're limited as under the tourist visa or that visa obligation that the Europe is right now doing against the U.S. Citizen restriction against them as per entry. It's similar to ESTA. So there's for European or for certain countries in Europe, there's ESTA is a visa waiver program where you don't have to get a tourist visa to get to U.S., but you have like 3 months freely coming just to registering online. You got to register that is valid for 2 years and then you have to renew it. So something similar is Europe doing now against the US, for my personal opinion, just to show off. So yeah.
Who's doing what to show off?
So European countries, when you want to enter Europe, now you have to do the registration to enter.
You didn't have to before?
You didn't have to before.
Why are we doing it now? Because Trump?
Because of the show off and the political situation. So why not to impose something against you guys?
Are we the enemy of the world?
You're getting there. You're getting there.
See, again, this just doesn't make sense. Like, everybody wants to come here, but nobody likes us.
It's a tough country. It's a tough culture.
America?
Mm-hmm.
It's easy.
Is it?
Isn't it?
I don't know. My story doesn't say so.
Well, maybe it's like, they say white privilege. Maybe there's American privilege.
I thought you see, I thought that one. Like, when I went through the immigration, I was like, come on, I'm European, I'm white, I'm blonde. Like, why is this happening? I don't think there's anything like that. And I thought there is. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no white privilege.
There's nothing like that.
No, I mean, there may be in certain, racist areas where if you're white, they'll give you a pass. And if you're not white, then they will screw with you. That's called racism.
I've been sitting in the border secondary office for 5 hours every single time I was crossing the borders back then.
Well, that's because as soon as you talk, someone knows you're not American.
Maybe. True.
But again, I mean, I know there's racism. There's guaranteed racism. People that act like there's no racism. Yes, there is racism. I've heard it. I've witnessed it. It exists. But there's racism towards whites too. So like, it doesn't matter if you're black or Chinese or European. There's racism.
Yes.
And I don't understand why, because like, to me, I don't care where you're from or what color you are or I care what kind of a person you are. So to me, we're all humans.
Yeah.
And there's only one race, the human race. So if we're all human, well, then we're all technically, as they say in the Bible, brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So to me, it's like, dude, black, Chinese, Arabic, Jewish, Christian, Buddhist, Slovakian, I don't care. We're all human beings. The question is, what kind of a human being are you? Because there's shitty human beings and then there's good human beings. And I don't care. That's where I judge is, are you a shitty person or are you not a shitty person? And I wish the whole world operated that way. But again, I understand sometimes, like, Americans go traveling around and they're loud and obnoxious. And then they think, oh,
they're not the only one.
Americans think this. It's like, not all Americans are assholes. I was in London once and we decided to go to a comedy show and I'm sitting at a comedy show and they're up there going, something about, who hates Americans? And they all raise their hand and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, this is weird. Like I've never felt that before, where they were talking shit about Americans and how shitty Americans were. And the guy looks up at me and he says, where are you from? In British accent. And I said, Birmingham. And everyone started laughing because they knew that somehow I was American. But anyway, I wanted passport somewhere else.
You see how is it? I'm sorry. You see how is it good to be like from the country that nobody knows about? Like, nobody's going to be hating or loving or having opinion towards a Slovakian.
Well, I mean, you're still dual though. So if I show a Malta passport, can't they look me up and go, oh, he's also an American?
No, not really. That's before when Slovakia was restricting the dual citizenship. I was saying, like, how are they going to come up that I have a U.S. passport? Like, nobody's really searching it. So that's the point of it. Like, nobody's really looking up, because they were laughing with my daughter. They never understood. So she's leaving the U.S. with the U.S. passport, but she's entering with the European passport. And then she's leaving with the U.S. passport because when you are boarding the plane, they always check on you if you have a, citizenship or lawful permanent residency or visa. So I have to show her U.S. passport. And then we never have a direct flight. Like, Slovakia is so far away, like we don't have a direct flight to US. So we got to the Germany or we got to the France. And I always forget. And they always ask me, because you have to do the immigration there to exit to Europe. And I showed the US passport and they were like, so how did you enter? There's no entry. I was like, oh, sorry, I forgot. She has a European passport. So I have to pull up the European passport. And
they don't care?
They don't care. No, they don't care there.
So then how can any American listening to this that's wanting to get a dual citizenship in some other country and have multiple passports, can they call you?
Of course.
And
Of course.
you can help Americans, not just Indians.
Of course, we help everybody.
Do we have to be wealthy? Because you deal with a lot of high-end individuals.
It comes with a significant investment. Like this is not a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 process. Yes.
But if you got a little bit of dough, you can do it.
Yeah. I still think based on what is the outcome and what you're getting is very reasonable price.
Well, not only that, I mean, if you have to buy a property there for a couple $100,000, just go buy a property for a couple $100,000.
And you get a residency from it.
Or do you have to pay cash?
No.
So
what do you mean? Like, I mean,
you get loans? They don't do credit?
No, you don't get a loans. Okay. If you ask that one, yeah, you have to have your savings.
So if I go to Malta and buy a residence or a building or a piece of real estate.
Yeah.
What'd you call it? You called it real something.
Real estate. Residency. Apartment.
Yeah, I thought you said something else. But so I go over there and I buy something.
Yeah.
That allows me to be a citizen.
First resident, and that leads to the citizenship.
Do you know all the countries that where if I just deposit a certain amount of money in their bank, I'm a citizen automatically?
We do. You know which one is the most expensive one? I can tell you.
Which one?
Austria.
Austria.
You're Austrian, right?
What about Belize?
Belize is not in Europe.
Where's well, I know.
Caribbean.
Yeah,
Caribbean.
But still, I don't.
Yeah, they do have a program. Grenada has a good one. That's what the Chinese were using. The Grenadian.
Which ones are non-extradition?
I'm not dealing with that one.
Aren't those available too?
They are.
Are there countries that won't extradite you?
They are.
See, again, I mean, if you're smart, you might as well just get a passport there and a passport there.
Isn't it a thin line in which we're like in between the services, right?
Well, the question would be, what's your reasoning? My reasoning would be, if anything were ever to happen here, where this country becomes like fallen, like literally, like it's bad here now, and it could be, like we've been reigning for hundreds of years. Eventually, even Rome fell.
Yeah, but look at the history. Like, even if the war was happening ever in the history, it was outside of the U.S. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So you guys been kind of like pretty safe.
Well, that's because we're the ones usually causing the wars,
exactly,
and or handling them.
Exactly. But still, you were safe. So as looking into this one, having a U.S. passport, it's still kind of predictable, safe choice to have.
So I'm just going to keep my American passport.
You should.
And just be done with it.
Well, you're good.
Proud
just
to
like
be
my
an
daughter.
American.
Yeah, just like my daughter being born. Like those passport cannot be revoked. Like naturalized is a different story.
Yeah, but why do you think people should get multiple passports?
Again, I don't think there's just a U.S. in the world. I don't think it's a most tax favorable place to. Of course, you can generate wealth. It's maintaining wealth. It's kind of rough here. That's why you need the multiple options in the world.
So if someone wants to talk more, learn more, just go to citizenconcierge.org.
Yeah, there are all the contact information. So we can outreach to either email, WhatsApp, phone number, call, whatever.
And then folks, go follow her at Olineka, OLINECKA. Or go to @Citizen Concierge. Hit her in the DMs. Ask questions. If you guys are foreigners and you're here, or you're listening somewhere else and you want to come here, hit her up. Like, she apparently has the path where you said in there. I thought you said 100%.
Absolutely. Indian, I just, the client that I consulted today asked me, so what's the success rate? And I was like, I don't want to really brag about myself, but I don't have so far case I was denied as per the talent visa for Indian, for them. So
you've never been denied?
Not in that one. There were cases that were denied that I knew are going to be denied from the beginning, just because the client didn't really understood and wanted to work with me, but not in the talent visa for the entrepreneurs.
So entrepreneurs, if you guys are out in the world, you want to come to America, Olga has your ticket. Hit her up.
I do. We do. All my team has it. And there's a definitely path for you without the hustle and having all the bad feelings and experience that I had. And you can avoid it.
Well, thank you for coming and telling your story.
Thank you for having me.
And welcome to America, Olga.
Thank you so much. Like, I should follow up with you with my U.S. passport. And we're going to do a follow-up. Then you should welcome me to U.S.
Okay, do it. I'll put you back on.
Okay.
You get your American passport and fly out here and we'll have you back.
Absolutely.
Till next time, folks. Don't say I didn't do nothing for you. Keep it real. Or should I say, keep it real.